I'm in New Hampshire with the hot question of the Senate campaign. Can a Massachusetts guy get elected here? Is Scott Brown a carpetbagger?
Listen, anybody can move here and run for office.
Let's play hardball. Good evening, I'm Chris Matthews in Manchester, New Hampshire at the Institute of Politics of St. Anselm College. Last night at a debate here at St. Anselm, the issue of the campaign, the hot issue of the campaign, hit a high point. A debate panelist corrected Scott Brown on his state geography.
What do you see going right in the economy in Sullivan County, and what's going wrong? And please be specific.
Well, you're absolutely right. Geography plays a role. Along the southern border, we have more jobs, we have more opportunity. Infrastructure and other opportunities up north are difficult. One of the biggest opportunities is tourism. One of the biggest opportunities are ski areas and trails for snowmobiles. I support those efforts.
But we're talking about Sullivan County,
yes.
And I think you were talking about the North Country. So what do you see is going well in Sullivan County or not?
I'm talking about any place past Concord, actually, and the challenges of our state. So I'm referring to the challenges including the high corporate tax rate, Obamacare coming in after the election. We also have the challenges of high electric costs. If you go to any business in any county in our state, those are the very real challenges.
Sullivan County is west of Concord. It's not north of Concord, Senator Brown. So what are you seeing going well and what's not going well there?
With respect, I've answered the question. The challenge is the same in every county in our state.
Well, the panelists later apologized for correction, saying there at that time that the Sullivan County was to the west and not to the north, and he said that Brown was wrong in that during that debate. Later on, he said in a television news report at 11 o'clock last night here, he said that Brown was right. Let's watch him now correct himself.
We were talking about the location of Sullivan County, and I said that Sullivan County was west of Concord, not north of Concord. The truth is, it's both. So on this point, Scott Brown was right. I was wrong, and I apologize to Scott Brown and to both campaigns.
Well, the question between now and the election on Tuesday is whether Brown or his rival, Senator Jeanne Shaheen, the Democrat, will benefit from the incident. Brown may come off the winner of the debate on whether he was off base on geography or not, but the skirmish does raise the very issue Shaheen herself wants in voters' minds when they go to vote, whether Scott Brown from Massachusetts has the background to represent the counties and people of New Hampshire. As an aide to Shaheen told me today, the issue where Sullivan County is relocalized the election. It made it about New Hampshire. However, the senator was more delicate on the subject herself. Here was my conversation with Senator Shaheen early this afternoon. There's an old expression, if it talks like a duck, walks like a duck, looks like a duck, it's a duck. Is Scott Brown a carpetbagger?
Listen, anybody can move here and run for office, and it's up to the voters to decide. But the question is, who's going to put New Hampshire first? Who understands what we need to do to grow our small businesses and create jobs? Who's going to support the families of New Hampshire? Who's been working? I've been working as governor in the United States Senate to support our small businesses, to support our families so they have a fair shot at success. And my opponent, when he was in Washington from Massachusetts, represented the big guys, the corporate interests, the oil companies, the Wall Street banks, the companies that want to outsource our jobs. That's what this election is all about.
But the audacity of somebody to cross the border for national political ambitions, what does that say about New Hampshire, even listening to the guy? Why would they even give him a shot?
Well, our voters are fair-minded, and hopefully they're going to decide on Tuesday that they want somebody who's going to put New Hampshire first, not the corporate special interests.
I was impressed today watching your Get Out the Vote campaign. Tell us, to people watching around the country, how important that part of the campaign that they don't see on television.
It's critical. You know, this race now is about who turns out to vote on Tuesday. And if we get our supporters out to vote, we win. If we don't do that, then we don't win. And so this is all about contacting, you know, all of those people who have been talked to over months about making sure they vote on Election Day, going to the doors and pulling people to the polls, doing rides to the polls, identifying who still needs to go out and making sure they get to the.
Last question, after last night's debate. Why are you going to Sullivan County today, this afternoon? Is that to bring out the fact that he wasn't quite clear, or what?
Well, it's always fun to be in Sullivan County. I've done a lot of work with people in the county, with Claremont, which is the biggest city there, helping them with supporting their small businesses to create jobs, helping them rebuild their downtown. They have great old mills there. It's a historic city.
You really know that place.
You know, I've been around New Hampshire for a long time, but what I'm really going there to point out is that this is not about geography. This is about who's going to work for New Hampshire. It's about who's going to support communities like Claremont, our small businesses, to make sure that they can continue to grow and create jobs. My opponent has not been there for small businesses.
So he's a carpetbagger.
You can call him what you want.
Okay, thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. You can call him what you want. That was nice. Anyway, Paul Singer's with USA Today, and Carol Robidoux is with the Boston Globe. Let me start with Carol about this. You represent the Globe, which is a big newspaper all over New England, of course, but this ability to hop, skip, and a jump across the state border and to within a year be elected United States Senator in a neighboring state when you've already been a senator from the other state, this will be a remarkable achievement if he pulls this thing off next Tuesday.
Yeah, I think a year ago nobody would have said this would happen, but the fact that it's happening right now kind of shifts everybody's thinking about what's at stake here, what's driving this election, what's going to drive voters to the polls, what are the issues that really matter. I was thinking when you were talking to Jean that statistically here in New Hampshire, you know, we've changed a lot too. We have a lot of people here that used to be there in Massachusetts, so there could be that factor too, people who have lived in Massachusetts and are now New Hampshire voters. They might embrace Scott Brown, and that may be part of the Scott Brown factor.
Yeah, Paul, another thought here is if he does win, I think he's still a little bit of an underdog, but based on the latest poll he is, but if he does win, doesn't that make a statement that this will probably be a sweep election, but also that this was a national election? He didn't win because he was a good New Hampshireite. He won because he was a conservative Republican running against the president's party.
Right. A lot of this is about Obama. We had a poll in the paper today that people are really concerned about everything. They feel, I think the quote was, a cornucopia of icky from a voter who just feels like there's no reason to go out and vote, and they're not excited about the opportunities to vote, and they're not really having a whole lot of hope for the next Congress anyway. If Scott Brown is able to win in New Hampshire, which will be an earlier close than some of the other races we're watching, that's going to be a sign that we could have a Republican wave coming.
Well, let me go back to Carol on this. What do you think about the debate last night? It seemed to me that maybe Jeanne Shaheen, the incumbent senator, was really sharp in not jumping on what looked to be his mistake last night, because it wasn't actually a mistake. He said that Sullivan County was to the west, or rather to the north. It is sort of a bit northwest. It's mainly to the west, but it wasn't an actual error on his part. I guess that explains why she didn't actually jump on him as hard as the moderator did.
Well, I think one of the finer points for people who live here is understanding that most people know to get there from here, you have to go south first and then west in most cases to get to Sullivan County. So nobody thinks of it as a sort of a northward journey. And I think that's where James Pindell was going with that, is that we have a very distinct idea of what the North Country is here in New Hampshire, and it's not Sullivan County.
Well, he got off the hook anyway. He may have been wrong, but he got off the hook last night. Anyway, the Shaheen campaign has what looks to be a strong get-out-the-vote campaign up there. Young volunteers are doing follow-up calls on Democrats and independents who tend to vote in presidential campaigns, but not in midterm elections. And these are the people the Shaheen campaign believes will be the deciders on Tuesday. They want them out there voting. And two prize categories are women and Hispanic voters, believed to be the most likely people to vote for the Democrat Shaheen. Let me get back to Carol Robidoux on that. What do you sense about the Get Out the Vote campaign, the ground campaign as we call it? Is it clearly, it seemed to me clear, they certainly bragged to this point, that Shaheen has got it all over Scott Brown's operation in terms of Get Out the Vote?
Yeah, that might be one way of looking at it, depending on your perspective. I actually spoke today to the New Hampshire party chair, Jennifer Horn, who said that this is historically their largest ground campaign ever in any midterm election. They're pulling out all the stops, and they believe that things are going to go their way as long as they can keep pulling undecided voters in their direction. It's really a fight to the finish here. I think both campaigns are coming on as strong as they ever have.
Paul, how do you see it ending up with the ground campaign against the the media presence of Scott Brown?
Well, it was interesting. Yesterday, there was a news roundtable with the head of the Republican Senate Campaign Committee and the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee. And the Republican was more optimistic, actually. He said that he felt that Scott Brown done a really good job of introducing himself to the voters in New Hampshire. And the Democratic head of the Democratic Campaign Committee said, well, we think that Shaheen's going to win, but New Hampshire voters are notoriously fickle. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, certainly this race is closer than we expected it to be. That in itself is good news for Scott Brown.
Well, I think you're right. Paul Singer thanking Carl Robidoux. I think my view of this has been, if you're watching us on election night this coming Tuesday, I hope you are, on 8 o'clock, if we say it's too close to call in New Hampshire, look out for a sweep, because that's not good news for the Democrats. They should win in New Hampshire. This would be like the 10th win for the night if they win up in New Hampshire here today. Anyway, coming up, Chris Christie says he has no regrets. Would he? About his angry outburst the other day. In fact, he's basking in it. He says it was just another day in a place he calls Rancho Christie. I think he's the Cisco Kid. I don't know. But how's his short-fused tough guy act going to play when he hits the campaign trail for President of the United States? We've mashed up some of Christie's worst hits, you might say. That's all ahead here on Hardball. This is it, the place for politics.